What is up, guys? What is up? I know the show is late. I had to take a small little bathroom break, man. It was just being completely freaking honest here. Crazy stuff happened at Redbud, and happy, I would say, belated Independence Day, because it's not Independence Day, and hopefully you guys all had fun shooting off illegal fireworks, because I know. Anyway, it would suck to be an officer on Independence Day, because you're just ruining everybody's fun. And, you know, God bless the guys that are in the blue suits. Just have to give it up to them. You guys have been through a lot, but I am completely digressing. Let's talk about racing. And the first thing that I want to start off with is something that happened to Deegan, because Deegan somewhat fell apart. And yeah, we'll start off with the 250 class. So here, let's watch. Dun, dun, dun. Brian Deegan posted this. Okay, it's going to start over. It's going to start over. So just waiting for it to start over. It's not starting over. Okay, here we go. Boom. Deegan goes down super freaking hard. And where was this? Right? There's lots of comments on here going like, oh my gosh, where's the flag, or what's going on? But to be fair, right? Because we all know that effing Hopper wants things to be fair. I told you guys, most things are not fair. But anyway, let's get through this. So I can't make out who this rider is. And it's this rider that is getting lapped right here. So this was where it almost took out Tom and Deegan. But the camera cuts away, and that's right where Deegan ends up landing on the motorcycle. Thank God he didn't land on the rider himself, because that would have really hurt him, you know, at least the privateer. And I don't know who the privateer is. I can't make out the number enough to know, okay, is it, I know it was a number 2. It was 2 something. And so looking at the KTMs, you're like, okay, who could this be? This could have been Bryson. This could have been Bailey. This could have been Brock. This could have been Hunter. This could have been Grayson. And I almost want to say that it's Grayson. For some reason, it looks like it potentially is that 6, but it's very hard to pick out. Like, you can't see. You can't see. But it almost took out Ty and Tom, and then definitely took out Hayden. And thank God the points leader, Hayden, dude, we've seen him do this multiple times. He did it at High Point, where he is preparing for the Olympics by just bouncing up and going boom, boom, boom. If anybody in the comments know, oh, okay, Grayson replied on the pro. Oh, so I was right. Okay, so it was Grayson. So hopefully he is okay, because that is horrible. Absolutely horrible. I don't know if he missed a shift or if the bike seized on him, but that is something that just didn't help anybody out whatsoever. And unfortunately, Deegan he still is in the points lead by a moto and a half, because he's like 36 points in the lead. However, he was almost 2 full motos in the lead until that happened, because he ended up going 2-6. And Ty, I guess I'll finish talking what I wanted to say about Deegan is Deegan got beat. He got beat the first moto, and he got beat the second moto. Unfortunately, the second moto, there's a big asterisk involved there because of this. Like, the dude is sore. He almost needs another week off to recover from this, because damn, you know. And then his dad talks about like just a bike laying there. That all happened incredibly fast. But for him to just jump back up, dude, this kid is tough as nails. This is not no typical spoiled social media kid. This is a kid that has come to play and is ready to throw punches. Like, that's all that happened. That's all that happened. That's nothing. That is absolutely nothing. No separated shoulder, no nothing. I want to know what's somewhat chest guard he's running, because typically with a crash like that, I mean, I remember trying to qualify back at Redbud back in 2016 on a Honda, and I just kept worrying about Larocco's leap the entire time. And fun fact that with a 1348 with a 130-pound rider on it, you could do Larocco's leap in second gear pinned. Anyway, that tabletop right there is huge, is absolutely effing huge. So for him to land on a motorcycle and flip over it, land straight on his back, do a bunch of 360s, and then hop back up, he's doing a pretty good job with his Tony Hawk impressions, but thank God he's got multiple 9 lives. I mean, what is he at this point through Supercross and this? He's got to be down to like 2 or 3 at this point. But if I'm turning gears just a little bit, because this is live here, Hymus, I remember some people in the chat, when I interviewed Hymus, and I said on my channel a little while ago that Hymus was going to be the dude to beat Deegan after Ty. What did he do? He won the overall, but it did not come easy for him. That first moto, he fell apart. He went from first to fourth. Second moto, recouped himself with, ironically, the opposite happened to Ty. Ty had a good first moto, and it fell apart on him that second moto, because Ty ended up getting fifth through there. And my boy, Tom Vial, fastest qualifier, for some reason, he crashes out at front. He did it at Southwick. Was it at High Point? No, I don't think it was High Point. Anyway, he's done it a few different times. He did it again. He did it in second, and he ended up third that first moto, but he was off the podium with a fourth, where he made just as many points as Deegan with a fifth overall. So they both gained, they both had 5-point scores. So he lost almost not. They were even, basically. I'm trying to do math in my head here, and let's just say that I'm poor at it. Well, this is a decent segue while I'm fumbling over here, is to talk about the video sponsor, Precision Transport. These guys are great. Their number is 877-827-0618. They are a freight company. They do dry weight. They do refrigerated rate. Whatever you want them to ship, they will help you out, even if they can't legally ship it because you're trying to ship something that is more personal, like moving or something. They will send you to somebody that knows how to do it, and they will give you a good deal. So these guys are a moto company. They help out tremendously. Make sure you check them out. With the 450 class, we know that Jet was hurt, and I know, was it a week ago or so, I believe, in one of the press conference, he was talking about a shoulder, and then the next week he hurts himself on Tuesday and is out with the thumb injury. It was badass to see him out at the track supporting his brother, but I think there is something to be said about the sport, especially with the riders, where they hide stuff. They hide injuries as long as they can, especially to their competitors. And the season is freaking super long. This is what, round 23 of the year, 23, where we saw guys like Jason Thomas make the comparison to Sexton with the heart rate scenario, where these guys are doing 180 and above. I have some interviews on my channel of some riders where we talk about heart rates, and I don't necessarily think it's a very fair comparison, because it's very sport specific. Okay. Because if you try to go do 200 beats or 180 on a rower, it's going to be damn near impossible, because you're not using that many muscles. And with running, you can start off very slow. I don't believe it's as fair of a comparison. Don't get me wrong. 180 beats is incredibly hard. And to do that for 35 minutes plus 2, these guys are top tier athletes. Don't get me wrong there. They're abso-effing-lutely in tip-top shape, especially if we're able to do 23 rounds so far all year long. Mentally, physically, everything about them. We just freaking, do I have to show this again? About little Deegan with how tough these guys are? They're definitely no triathletes or swimmers or runners where they're like, oh man, I broke my toe, so it's all over with. No, not at all. These guys are badass mofos. My point being is the comparison is, it's better if we just stop the whole heart rate thing from whether you run or not, because when you're running, you're very calm. There's not a shark trying to kill you while you're on a motocross bike, you are already doing 160 beats just sitting on the gate because of how stressed out, how much anxiety, how much adrenaline is pumping through your veins by going, man, I need to effing get this hole shot or I'm going to get tagged and could potentially hurt myself. You know, we could ask Logan Carnow what he was going through his head as far as thinking about, hey, the worst case scenario could possibly happen where your foot is looking the other direction. But anyway, I'm digressing quite a bit about that. And with the visors, I really like the Bell helmet visors and the Alpine Star visors where they're somewhat magnetic. However, it's a flaw if you lose the visor when you're still racing and you haven't crashed. I can see the impact help by having that sucker be able to take some of the inertia out of stuff, but it shouldn't come dislodged during a race whatsoever. And before I continue a little bit more with the 450 class, the track, dude, I freaking love Redbud, and the track just keeps getting better and better, and the track design gets better and better every year. Correct me if I'm wrong. It looked to me as if the start was going a completely different direction, where normally it was going straight out and then you'd have these two little S's. Instead, it was at a 90 and then made it to a complete 180. So now the riders were starting way to the inside to have almost a supercross start because of the clean 180. It made for a safer start. It made for not as fast of a start because, dude, do we remember the old start of Redbud where these guys would just haul ass, do one little corner, and then sweep down to the bottom of the track? Well, they changed that up by having that switch back there, but it was still super fast. But now it is just the 180 and then goes back, which I think is smart. And the same thing with Larocco's Leap, where you just come from the backside down and you have this nice sweeping corner to help. And then to do the Rocco's Leap, then you cut back and you start doing the roller section. That just seems a lot more functional than where they had it before. Yeah, I'm sure if they have Redbud, if they have a sprinkler system in it, that would have been incredibly expensive to do that. But they've got the Moto Compine there that I believe is starting tomorrow. So, dude, I really enjoy that. And those 250s having a really hard time to try to, sorry, just reading what some of you guys are saying here. And I can get to them here in a second, but those 250s having a freaking hard ass time to get over Larocco's Leap. Only seeing a couple of the factory guys actually jump it, and it was most of the Kawasaki guys. It wasn't as many of the Star guys as I thought we would see because those motors are incredibly fast. But all the 450s we saw do it. And Kyle Webster, man, 3 digits is legit. That guy's starting out front, and I just want to highlight his prowess on the track where he just rubbed elbows with everybody out front, with Anderson of all people, to get past and then just run it back in and take the line away and try to do the same thing to Sexton. Like, that dude, I want to see him stay here in America longer because he is a darn good rider. And this is different than somewhat of like what Ty did last year in the 450 class because of the sheer fact that it's not as decimated of a 450 field. And like, here, let me dissect that, because if we think about it, Webb's gone. You've got Jet is gone. Then you have Roxon, who is gone. Barsha is gone. Like, there's a lot of guys out there that are not racing right now. However, if you had to compare the two between last year and this year, last year was definitely the privateer shout outs, like, boom, everybody jump on a 450 and go try to qualify. This year, there's faster guys here, but in my head, I'm thinking, well, would you rather race the 250 class? And I'm thinking, no, you would not rather race the 250 class either, because everyone is still healthy in the 250 class. So interesting. And talking with some of my buddies, I was almost thinking, like, with Moto, what makes Moto different than Supercross so much as far as making it as exciting? And it's just that big finale at the end where you have the 22-minute main event, the 20 lap that ends up sometimes being 25 minutes a little bit. So it's just one big main event. Boom, it's over with. It's done with. Here, there's 2 motos for both classes, where it maybe, I know it's just going against the whole originality of the sport. And I know this sport is very resistant to change in times, and maybe it takes a little bit of pushing out a little bit, but perhaps having like a hybrid series, because we have the whole super motocross stuff. If we all know, we look at Peacock, and when you go to search for it, it says round 23, but it's actually round 6, and it says motocross round 23, where you're like, wait, it's actually super motocross round 23. It's motocross round 6. If we're going to have a hybrid system, maybe we should start thinking about having some stuff thrown in there where it's like, okay, cool, this is just a one moto free for all. Just boom, one moto and you're done. Make it very exciting. Get some more fans excited for this, because the race is over with. Then people are like, wait, they're going back on again. I just think it could be something that could be innovation just a little bit. But back to the 450s in general here. Hunter, this guy, and back to my title, as far as the championship is pretty much done with here, is Hunter folded in pressure out front, winning whole shot to almost the last lap. And my perception of what happened was he was covering his line. He felt the pressure from Sexton catching him on the last lap or two. It's like 2 laps or 1 lap to go. And he is going from the outside to the inside and makes that quick decision to try to jump back to the outside. Hand pops off and he ends up going down. Yes, he still gets second, right? And so the points are still very tight up till that point. But then what happens to second moto too? He decides to switch up what has worked for him so much. We heard the broadcast talk about the statistics of him, is that his starting procedure is out front. What was it? 2.5 was his average start, which is awesome. Then all of a sudden he gets like a 9th to 10th to worst place start because he decides to switch tires. He decides to switch up what he knows that works, because everybody knows that that sand tire is a hybrid tire that truthfully should almost be outlawed, because no one else is using any other tire, right? It's the gold standard for tires at the moment is that scoop tire. It's a cheater tire. So anybody out there, it works great at like almost all conditions. So if you're watching this, go buy a scoop tire, because they've been running it for the last 2 years, and everybody every weekend, doesn't matter if it's hard pack, sand, mud, whatever, they're like sand tire. Boom. Even in Supercross, we saw a lot of guys run the sand tire, the scoop tire. Well, what happens? He starts playing with his head, changes his setup, boom, gets a bad start and is unable to defeat Sexton, who doesn't get the best start, but ends up working his way to the front because he is the bulldog and he's taken the balls of this series. And I think he's going to hold on to it till then. And this is really Hunter's one big shot for him to take advantage of this stuff. And he lost it here at Redbud. I hope that he can rebound, because I want to see good racing. I want to see a good championship fight here. However, with his brother being injured, all the support goes boom to him. Everything is looking on him. Yes, there hasn't been more of a pressure moment in this kid's life. He's in his 20s, so I will still call him a kid, but he has got everything riding on this championship to win. I even saw something interesting on Gypsy Tales from a while ago that Daniel Blair posted, saying that there's going to be a year where Jet wins the Supercross season and Hunter wins the Outdoor National season. That would still be awesome if that in fact goes down. But as of right now, looking at what's going on with midpoint in the season, Sexton has been given 2 big gifts. One, Jet is no longer in the series. Number 2, he is somewhat in Hunter's head. Yes, I will definitely say that is it appears while watching this stuff that Sexton is bullying the series, right? He's that bulldog, hence why I'm giving him that nickname. And that second moto, winning by 22 seconds. But I will say, because of the crash that Hunter did sustain, that is the roughest downhill section. And we saw Jordan Smith go down there really hard too. He ended up hitting the back of, I think, was it Savachi, by trying to switch to the inside there and just take his front wheel out, which is like the worst place to do that. Only other worst place you could possibly do that, it would be in the air. So the Star Yamaha guys had a rough time there as well. But my point is that Hunter landed really hard on his back, and he's been dealing with an injured back for a long time. We haven't really known how bad that back, the not sustainability, how substantial that injury has been for him. And he looked good on the podium and everything, but that second moto definitely didn't come through like he did the first moto. So I think there was a couple things. Sexton, it was his day to lose. Number 2 was that crash, and number 3 was changing that tire for sure. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will catch you guys this week, and I will also catch you next weekend. As always, keep it WFO and enjoy your effing weekend, guys. Oh, and Rhino's coming on the show on Monday, so that should be a good podcast as well. Got lots of interesting questions about life and riding and all sorts of stuff for that individual.